Hey guys, welcome to Tuesday at Two Lines. I hope everyone's doing well. We're a few minutes early since I was late the last time. No, it was the time before. Yeah, no, it was last time. Anyway, so hope your Tuesday is going well. Hope your week is going well. And we're here to talk about slot cars. So we'll see where the chat goes tonight. I don't have a whole lot in store. There's always something going on the workbench. I'm in the midst of building the bug, and I'm awful at soldering. And thanks to Danny Wiley, I appreciate it, sending me a link on how to care for my soldering iron. I learned one important thing today, that corrosion does not transfer heat. And my tip on my soldering iron was not super clean, and I was really struggling to solder last night. I got really frustrated and realized that I am not good at this. I probably should have just ordered an H&R chassis and been done with it. But I'm going to learn, by golly. I'm going to learn. So, what's going on in the chat? We got Chris Patowski, and Gina is in the house. Hey, Gina. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Chris, thanks for jumping on. Chris Freder. So, shout out to Chris Freder. Chris made the trip down from Plain City to Chillicothe, Ohio, and we raced some slot cars on Sunday. Had a great time while I struggled working on projects over here. But John Mark and Dusty were here too, and we got to do a little bit of racing and had a lot of fun running laps. So, Chris, thanks. Big shout out. Appreciate it. You making the trip down. Hope you enjoyed it. Dave Slot R is in the house. What's up, Dave? Some years where I am so little rainfall, we are technically a desert. Not in the last couple of years, though. That's funny. Who else is in? Slot Guard Daddy is in. Dave Patterson is here. Jeff G. Guys, I appreciate it. Hey, Lindsay, what's going on? Good to have you. Been working on the room that the slot car table will be built in, some minor drywall repairs and painting walls. A large built-in, once we've done clean carpet, start on the table. There you go. The slot car room is always a fun build, because you know what you're getting in the end. But sometimes it takes some time to get there. Slot car Daddy. Hey, what's up? Hey, Harry in Latvia. Welcome. Just made it in the nick of time. What's up, Mr. Albright? How are you this fine evening? And I noticed that, let's see, John Tucci is in. Eric Tucker is in. Good to have you over. Hey, Steve. Welcome. Those old wooden tracks are great. Yeah. I really do enjoy the wooden tracks. They're a lot of fun. A different tuning in the cars, but Chris, that's funny. Garth, welcome, Garth. Hey, Daryl, good to have you tonight. Thanks for joining. Yeah, Chris, I was a few minutes early. Don't get used to it. Hey, Greg. Brandon, what's up? Good evening. Yeah, Danny, thanks, man. I don't know if I can save this tip. One side of it, I was able to get pretty good, but the other side is a kind of a mess. So I think I'm just going to grab some new tips for my soldering iron and just start over. So hold on the soldering project. Yeah, getting the bug out of the bug. Hey, Ives, welcome. Yeah, hey, Greg. yeah, just keep you guessing. I am not great at soldering. Soldering has always been this thing that I just couldn't figure out. I couldn't get good at it. It was something that was really frustrating for me. And I'd had people show me things, and little small stuff I was decent at, But it really comes down to care for my soldering iron more than it had to do with my ability to solder. And I watched a handful of videos on my lunch hour today, and I texted Dusty, my brother. I said, I'm an idiot, but I think I finally figured out how to solder. So we're going to give it a shot tonight, but I don't know. We'll see. I think I'll still struggle. Thomas. Tom, you're not late. Nope, I just came on just a minute and a half early. Not a big deal. Hey, Vin. Hey, Chris. That tends to happen when you get to run some Thunder slots, man. They tune up real well, and they run really good. And honestly, my layout probably really lends itself to the handling of the Thunder slot. Really, there's not much else that can keep up with it. Really, NSRs that are really tuned well can compete on my layout with Thunder slots, but Thunder slots hold the track record, except for, like I've got a magnet car, Mosler, that will fly around the track. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed running Dusty's. You should have run a few more. I think you would have enjoyed them. They're great cars, really. Dusty, never late to the party. There's no party. Hey, wild man. Yeah, man. I'm happy that people multitask during the live stream. So, Clint, welcome. Daniel, good to have you guys. Hey, Gary. Patrick is in the house. Patrick sent me an email this afternoon that made me very, very happy. Thanks, Patrick. I appreciate the news. I'm excited. Send it to me. I need to send you an email to get a new code. I went to fire it up on Sunday, and I forgot that I had not updated the code for the new download. So, hey, Pete. What's up, man? Hope you're doing well. Anthony, Steve, Slot Journal is in the space. Steve. Hey, man. Steve Sweeney. But Steve Holzman. Man, hopefully get to see you soon. Hopefully you're doing well. It's been too long. Jamie, sorry, man. I another race night that I did not get to participate in. So I heard it was great. So hopefully you guys had a great time. So I miss all you guys. Vin, anyone have any experience with slotted G25 rubber tires? We run silicone VIN, so I'm not much help when it comes to rubber tires at this point until we go to some tracks that's what we run. And then we'll have to get better at it. But yeah, Steve, I heard, man, hated to miss it. But my wife's mother, so it was her birthday, and there was a big gathering for that. So yeah. Yeah, Danny, I think so too. I hope so anyway. But right now, my chassis looks really, really sloppy, and I'm hoping that I can clean it up a little bit. So, Chris, you're a plumber by trade, love to solder. You guys are good at it. You do it every day. Yeah, it just got to take care of the soldering iron. Keep it clean. Steve, I heard you had a busy weekend racing at Jamie's on Saturday night and then back up to Butch's on Sunday. That'd have been a good time. I need to get to Butch's and get some more laps in. I'm behind the 8 ball on that one. Kurt, tires. So back to the tires. Vin, I don't have any experience with those slotteds, but those are all the rage right now, I think. John Albright might be able to jump in and shed some light on them. I don't know if he's done any testing with them, but I know the guys are Brandon, there will be no live soldering on this channel tonight. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it. That's what I'm dealing with. Look how bad that is. That's awful. So I think it's probably too far gone. I think just getting a new one and starting over. But Brandon, no, there will be no live soldering. Hey, DK Moon, welcome. Kirby, welcome. 4 minutes in and 80 people. Are you kidding me? Holy cow. Guys, that is nuts. That's nuts. Marty, you missed some good racing at Jamie's. I know. I know, guys. I gotta get down there. I need to get to Bernie's track. I need to get to Jamie's track. Yeah. So Slot R, I would agree that Flux was a big help. No doubt about that. But it was impossible for my soldering iron to transfer heat. Like I could put it on the solder and the solder would just ball up on the end and fall off. And I knew that I needed to get the tip of that cleaned, but everything I did was not cleaning that. And yeah, so it all comes down to corrosion on the tip of your soldering iron will not transfer heat. You can put solder on it and it will not melt that solder. It will not heat up it'll transfer heat, but just not enough to solder. So flux is a big part of it, but really having that clean soldering tip is important. I don't have a Thunderslot car. Almost bought a BRM. I have one BRM. It was a gift from Daryl. It's the Budweiser. It's the old chassis, the plastic chassis, and rumor has it they're going to release the aluminum chassis for those, and so I probably will upgrade that. But yeah, man, I would go Thunderslot. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. I did some cleaning. You can't tell, but before Chris got here, I did some organizing. I put a table over here. That's going to be my scratch build table, I think. Finn, his couch, I moved it this direction. So when Finney is in, my dog, he'll lay on the couch and watch me goof around with slot cars. Got another table down here, but I try to keep that clear for the driver stations. And then in this podcast room, I realized that I might have room to build a small oval to test these scratch build cars that we send into the oval proxy. So more info on that, but I may be building about a 4-foot by 16-foot oval, 2-lane, just so we can do some testing. And it'll be digital and analog. And yeah, so more to come on that. But I think in this back room, you can see that right there's the doorway. That's the podcast room. And if I move the podcast table out of the middle of the room, I think I can make room for it. And it'll be a good test place. Brandon, soldering iron recommendations. So I'm thinking about getting a new one, and for about under $50, you can get a decent station off of Amazon. And so George has recommended that. I don't remember the name of it, but it was like $48 or $49. And it's a soldering station, so you can adjust the temperature. I think that's kind of a handy thing, or you can't go wrong with a Weller. So, and I think the wattage really is less about temperature, but maybe about how fast it actually heats up. That would be my assessment on that. So if anybody has some recommendations, feel free to throw them out there in the chat. Let's see. Cyberg, thanks, man. I appreciate that. What else do we have? Marty, I had so much fun running on your 4-lane track. The best part was finally meeting you and Dusty. Hey, thanks, Chris. It was good. It was always good. It's always good to get to meet people that we talk to all the time here in the chat, and get a chance to do some racing together. So maybe we get this whole, maybe if Sean Casey and I could figure it out, we would have some kind of meetup and set up a track and everybody have some fun racing laps. If we can, whoever can get there, can get there. Patrick, that's great news, man. Yeah, and I'm happy to test it. If you want to send it to me, and I'll definitely put it through its paces. So just let me know. Let's see. Steve, you thinking about Cincy slots on Thursday? That's cool. Any more questions? Slot car Brandon. For quality, you can't go wrong with the Hako. Okay, good to know. I think that's the one that George recommended, John, if I'm not mistaken. Vin, what do you want to know about the G25s? Everything has to be clean and a good flux. Yeah, Chris, I think I'm good on the flux. I have a bottle of the Lucky Bob's, which was recommended from the home racing world, and that seems to work really well. And the first chassis I built, my soldering iron, was this deal that I got for $4 at Menards, but it was brand new. And I realized that the tip was nice and clean, and that's why that chassis went together so easy. And I thought, wow, this is nothing. And then the second chassis, the tip is kind of a mess because it kind of sits here in the basement and not easy. And my chassis is a mess, and there's solder all over the place and things aren't holding, and the solder's not sticking to anything. Just really frustrating. Let's see. Well, Chris, are we glad you made it down? Yeah, we are. We're glad you made it down. Thanks. Just keep the sandpaper away from your tip. Don't get tempted to use it to clean it. You'll rub the coating off the tip. Many bad tutorials on the internet say to do that. Yeah, Danny, I'm probably dealing with that a little bit. I had some really fine sandpaper on the table before I talked to you last night that I hit it with, but I don't think I took any of the plating off. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see if I can save it, but that tip will be fine after a good Dremel. Yeah, I think that's what Danny's talking about. That's not good, taking the plating off. Just sand the tip. Anthony, it's a little too big. It was a $4 find at Menards. Now that I know a little better what I'm doing, it is too big of a soldering iron. Just the tip's too big. It heats up nice and fast, but I don't think that was the problem. But let's see. Yeah, Lindsay, I think you're right. Love the Rerover tires, but Slotted offers tires for my Skillectrics cars. The Fingers is in the house. Hey, welcome to Fingers. Eric, it's probably bad solder. Ask me how I know. I don't think it's the solder. I think it's the bad solderer, not bad solder. And Gloria's in the house. The tip is way too big and atrocious. Iron looks like it's for stained glass. It probably is, John. That's probably why it was $4. It's like an 80-watt soldering iron. Hey, you guys know I'm cheap. You guys already know this about me. $4. I thought I was doing wise. Let's see. I noticed a lot of 124 cars scrape the 330 banks. Slot Car League of Champions, we had a 330 high bank, and I don't remember the 124 cars scraping. But some of them, if they have a long tail or a lot of chassis behind the rear wheels, they might. I could see that being an issue. Yeah. Are there any way to treat silicone tires? It's called Windex or a Windex alcohol mixture or Simple Green. If you go to Super Tire's website, they have a whole cleaning recommendation. But treatment, not like rubber tires. They won't take treatment that I'm aware of. So silicones just like to be clean, and they like a clean track. Yeah, I'm guessing that's what it's for, Anthony. Do I have room for everyone? I don't know. I think about 6 people, maybe 8 people, and it gets really, really busy around the track. But there's two hallways or 2 other rooms that you can go in and out, so you can kind of work your way around. It's just not the most convenient, and it's got pretty low ceilings. So if you're a pretty tall guy, you would not enjoy the basement, except for right at the track. Got about an 8-foot ceiling right around the track, and about a 7.5-foot ceiling here. But there's just a lot of ductwork, the air conditioning ductwork and everything that you gotta dodge. Tough to beat Thunderslot McLaren's. It's my quickest car by a long shot and the track record holder at Cloverleaf. Yeah, Kurt. I really love the Thunderslots. Do you guys run a class up there, or do they just run in the vintage class? So you've got vintage NSR and vintage Thunderslots in the same class, because we tend to see that at Cincy Slots too. That the Thunderslots are just a tick quicker. So, Kurt, thanks for jumping in, man. Good to have you. Hope all's well. I hope you guys are prepping for the Michigan 24. I'm guessing that you drive in that. Let's see. Then the slotted G25 is a great tire, but if you don't glue them, they can stutter. They even get better after you true and treat them. There you go. Wise tire information from Mr. Albright. Thanks, John. I appreciate you jumping in and helping with that. Finn is just he's the best. Daisy can be a little cantankerous, my dogs, but Finn he's a good boy. He's smart and dumb at the same time. But he's always a lot of fun. Danny stated, don't take sandpaper to your soldering tip. Why not? Curvy. The soldering tips, I don't have a new one. They are iron plated, which is why they rust. I learned so much about soldering at my lunch hour today, which is why they oxidize. And so the heat causes oxidation as well. And that's why you've got to keep them tinned. So I watched a video on how to, like right out of the package, when you open it up and put a new tip on, you should tin the whole tip. And I watched a video on how to do that very easily, and it makes so much sense to me now. But you always clean after every use. You get either a damp sponge, or you get one of these, which is a brass. It's like a brass Brillo pad. And you stick the tip in there and you clean it after every time you use it. And then I did learn that you shouldn't leave your iron on for long periods of time. And so these new irons that have the base that temperature controlled, the digital ones, they will, if they sense that you're not using it, they will lower the temperature, and that will slow the oxidation on the tip down. So and then when you're done with it, you should tin it to store it before you turn it off, just to keep those clean, or you'll be replacing your tip frequently. So, Curvy, I hope that helps. But the sandpaper, If you sand it to get it clean, then you'll sand off the iron plating, and there's a copper core in the tip. And if you expose that, then you can cause a lot of problems exposing that copper core, and it will cause the tip to deteriorate faster. Because the flux makes it easier to solder, it's really hard on the tips of the soldering iron. You guys had no idea we were going to talk so much about soldering iron. DK Moon, yes, you do not want to buy a used soldering iron from me. Steve Sweeney, do you have a pit room for all the racers and their... I do. I actually have some pit spaces. I've got a nice fairly big room back here that I could probably put, 6 or 8 people in if I needed to. Maybe even more than that if I had a few more tables. And then I've got two table spaces here, and then I've got actually this side of the table I could set some stuff on. So I could accommodate maybe 8 to 10 racers. Steve. That's right, Greg. Is Hacko Weller, Mad P? Or those are your 2 recommendations. Slot Car League, you need 415 banks. I have both 330, and I haven't had a problem running my 124s on 330s. Very good. Thanks, Gary. Dang, that's crazy. 98. Unbelievable. Steve W., I need to build a catch fence. Has anyone used 3D printing pieces from Jeff, Garage Maker Guy? Steve, I do like those. That catch fence looks good. I've watched that video before. Dusty and I were talking about it, though. There's something he didn't like that thought about changing, but I don't remember what that was. Let's see. Daniel Thomas, search for rosin flux paste if you want the sticky version. Yeah, here's the sticky version that I have. SRA. I got it off of Amazon. It works really well, but it is a paste. And then I have tip tin. Which helps clean and re-tin the tip. My tip's too far gone for that stuff to really work well. Yeah, I was going to say that's one of the things you could do. Curvy pit box recommendations, pit box. So I went with the Craftsman Trade Stack. Because I like the 2 drawer, and so that's my travel. I put my cars in the top and my tools in the bottom drawer, and that works really well. I actually cut some foam so that the cars are protected in that top drawer, and then I've got another box that snaps to the top of it. I really like it. It's just not cheap. Now there's the yellow box at Harbor Freight that's like $18 that you can. It's got a couple little shelves. You can swap those shelves out with some thin plywood and make your own shelves and hold cars. George has a whole video based on that, Area 51. That's actually a really inexpensive pit box, and I've seen a lot of guys use that because it's cheap and inexpensive and basically holds everything. I do not have a flux capacitor. But Back to the Future is one of my favorite movies of all time. The first one, it is amazing, and then you treat your tires with STP. I've used Marvel's Mystery Oil for rubber tires as well. But Curvy, that's the Versa Stack actually works really well too. Dusty has it. I like the drawer system because it works well for me. Let's see what else. What else do we have? Sorry, guys, if I miss anybody's question, I apologize. I'm kind of moving forward. Someday we can all have roast coffee together. Roast the official coffee of Two Lines Tuesday. So I was working on thinking about my land barge, and I was thinking about doing a roast coffee livery and making it look old school, block lettering from 1963, because my land barge is going to be a 63 Galaxy 500. So I'm thinking about doing that. So yeah, Weller adjustable heat soldering iron. Then that's right. It's always important. I've got some tip tinner. I got it at Harbor Freight in a little pack. It's $19, and it gave you flux, tip tinner, sponge, and all the brass cleaner thing. Yeah. Let's see. You need to tin the end of your soldering iron. There's videos on it. It makes a huge difference in paste flux. Yep. I got one of those soldering irons that you can one hand off. Amazing. Works well. I was curious about that, if those worked. So, Whitman, that's pretty. I will pass on the MIG welder, John Mark. That's why I don't know. I can't solder, so I'm sure I can't weld either. That is the problem with the $4 soldering iron. Exactly. Yep, I paid for it. Hey, is Greg in the house? Did I miss? Hey, Greg. Gotcha. Yeah, man. Doing well. Good to have you. Thanks for joining tonight. It was good to talk today. Look forward to, hopefully we can make that happen sometime soon. $4 tool for $100 slot car. Yeah, sorry, Tom. Don't overlook the BRM 132nd rubber for your slotted cars. Ran 7.4 on the orange at Butch's with the Scale Auto Audi. Nice, Steve. That's quick. Quick time, dude. You are becoming a tuning machine. Yeah, the Scale Auto stuff is really good. My Scale Auto 963 is so stinking fast. It's almost too fast for this track. I'd have to crank it down to about 11 volts. Marty sent you a picture of Danny. I had to reread that. Thanks, man. That's if you take care of them, keep them clean, it'll last you a long time. Both my Audis and my Mercedes all running sub 7.6s. Wow, I can't keep up with you, man. Can't keep up with you. Too fast. Let's see. Lots of little things make something. There you go. Raul, welcome, man. Good to have you. Thanks. Only cheap slot racers would load $1,000 of cars into a $19 Harbor Freight. Jamie. Yeah, that's great. You're probably right. If Marty sits a small oval, probably. Let's see. What is it? Daniel, I missed that. What that was an answer to. I thought BRM 124 and Revo was 132nd. Let's see. We run Can-Am once per year. Gotcha. And so Thunder Slot is the popular car when you run the Can-Am. Yeah, Can-Am is honestly, it's probably my favorite class, but the Revoslot really were a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that month of racing at Cincy. The 1/4-inch chisel on my has at least 15 years on it. That's awesome. Well done, guys. See, I should have had a conversation before I even started with you guys. Let's see. I feel like I'm missing stuff. Kurt is the man. He's smooth on the track. And Kurt, man, thank you for you and Mike. I don't think Mike's in the chat tonight. Sometimes he jumps in. The recommendation, Kurt, the recommendation of the 522 for the DeFalco, the 522 ohm network. It is the reason why I got my first win at Cincy Slots. I stayed in the slot. That car was fast and smooth, and it had to do with the 2-finger trigger, and I really think that network calmed me down. So shout out to you, Kurt. Thanks, man. Appreciate that recommendation. That was good stuff. Curvy, we'll need to do some light video watching on that. Yeah. Let's see. Tip for some home racing, have some illumination for your pit stalls. Well, Steve, it's pretty dark in my basement, but I do have decent lighting in those areas, those spaces where people set up their cars. So the lighting's not too bad. Hey, Shotgun Dave, welcome, man. Never too late. I just use gutter guard for catch fence. Just make sure it's plastic. Hey, Billy, I'm glad you survived your drive through the snow to get your shipment, but nice little live stream today. I got to catch it right after work. Well done. That's pretty exciting. A lot of great Carrera products you got. So well done. Even though you risked your life for your customers. So Shotgun, welcome, man. Good to have you. The old gun case can make a good pit box, but some new foam and go. Yeah, I mean, I think we were using some of like the little like cases for pistols and things with the pull-out foam. We started with that, but quickly outgrew our 3 or 4 slot cars turned into 15 or 20 slot cars. So we outgrew those boxes pretty quick. Question, Gary. I use copper-coated wire scrubs on my solder tips. Let's see. Yeah, Brandon, those look really cool, but man, they get heavy. But my pit box is heavy too, so I can't say anything. I use copper-coated wire scrubs on my solder tips. Gary, I'm not sure what those are. So I'll have to check it out. Yeah, Curvy, no problem, man. Happy to throw some things out there. Yep, in the house. Those yellow Harbor Freight work great. Use individual drawer box tops as shelves. Just cut 3 to 4 slots to put your slot in, your guide in. Got it, Steve. Yep, those are pretty cool. And inexpensive. So I just don't know how long though. Welding is way easier than soldering. That's funny. Dave, you have some experience because you've had to weld new floorboards in all your Volkswagens, heater channels. The Pine 64 is a nice small soldering iron. Using it to solder chassis with. Gotcha. Up to 18 to 20 cars and controller in one light $18 box. I think that would be cool, Marty. That would be original for your livery. Yeah, the roast coffee. Yeah, I think so too. So I may play around with it. I threw a picture of a car in Photoshop and started manipulating it. The other thing I might do is I might recreate the Jake Dyke livery on a land barge body. So that's an option too, is just to create a fantasy livery if Jake would have ever ran NASCAR. So that might be fun too. Let's see. Yeah, Burn Dog, it is a handy skill to have. You need at least a watt for your flux capacitor. Don't forget it. That's right. 1.121 gigawatts. Great movie. Very creative. Marty thought about that after I sent the message. It's all good. This is a safe space, Danny. I bet the Scale Auto will give that Thunder slot a run for the money. Yeah, Eric, I think so too. The problem I have, with my Scale Auto right now is it doesn't have rear tires. But the second problem I have is it's not really set up that good. I really need to spend some time with it. But it's so fast in the straight, and it doesn't have tons of brake, and I just got to slam on the brakes. And I at the end of the straight, that corner, I've got to really get on it, get on the brakes early, and I can't beat in that first turn. That's where the Thunder slots get that car. It loses so much time because it's so fast. But I may try. I could run it at 11 volts, and it probably would run lap times comparable to the Thunder slots at 12 volts. One of the guys that runs on my track got the bug and built a 16 foot table. Now you have a travel track to go to. Nice, Kirby. That's cool. I really, if I could find the right, layout, I just haven't landed on a layout that fits down here. I will eventually build a wood layout. I think it would be fun. Just the challenge of it. I think it would be a nice progression. It would make for great content for the channel, and another how-to out there on how to do it. I think it would be fun. Question: Anyone know when the Scale Auto NSX is being released? Then I believe maybe Dave Kennedy talked about that last Friday, that it was one of the releases this quarter, if I'm not mistaken. So I think we're close on the Scale Auto NSX. Jamie, to be clear, every slot box I own is from our rain. That's great. Slot Journal, just got back home, found my LAB delivery on the front porch. Oh, nice, the Iron Dames Ferrari. Well done. That's a great choice. Slot Journal, it's always a good day when you come home and find a slot car package on your porch. Let's see, Scott Brandon, we have a beautiful, huge white car box. It's huge and heavy too. Christine brings it in. And Steve, that's funny. U.S. Art Supply makes a nice wood box that works nicely for a pit box, about $40. Marty, you might have some cases for your band gear to convert, something with wheels maybe. Bird Dog, you're right. I actually have a couple of really nice road cases that have drawers, and I could put drawers in. That would be an awesome. I would just need a trailer, like the band used to get around. I would need to take my trailer with me and roll it in. I can imagine what those guys already give me a hard enough time for the pit box when I bring both boxes in, let alone I come rolling in with a big cabbage road case. Yeah, that's right, John Mark. We have one road case that's so big that that we could build a track. We could have the track fold out of the road case. That would be great. I've done the 64 Plymouth Belvedere in the King's livery. Richard King. Nice, Brandon. That's one of my favorite cars. That's the color, the body style, the number, the decals. It's like one of the perfect liveries. Yeah, that's good stuff. So we've already talked about how I'm a bad solderer, but we'll get there. What else? What else did I have to cover? We did some racing on Sunday with Chris Freder, and we ran a ton of cars. But one of the cars we were working on was the Group 2 cars. Where's my Group 2 car? Let me find it. Group 2, Group 2, Group 2. I've lost my Group 2 car. All right. I have lost my Group 2 car. But Dusty's got his Cadet running pretty good. Where in the world? There it is. So I've got the Alpha. And I don't know, guys. It's okay, but it's not great. I think I'm probably a second off of the time. And Dusty started really playing with the body float. And so for those of you running Group 2, how much float do you have? I am not running the rear screws. I did not like how the Alpha sat, and so I did lower the front end a little bit, the body, and it did cause me a little bit of problems, but I think I got it fixed. My fronts were rubbing. But for those of you who've tuned your Group 2, where did you find speed? Is anybody running tape across the chassis? Did you take the screws out and loosen the chassis plate a little bit more? Run a lot more chassis float. I think that's probably the only way I'm going to get a little quicker. The other question I have is my spur gear is warped. I don't know if you can see it in the video. But that gear, that spur gear, is warped. And I'm wondering if that might be causing me some issues too. So any experience with that? What do you guys think? Using my 2-piece wood condo box next to the track right now. Weighs a ton when loaded up. You never find things when you're looking for them. Curvy, you're right. It was out in plain sight, though. It was just me overlooking it. I use a Husky 3-piece roll-around box with wood dividers. You can haul about... That's nice, Daryl. Yeah, Daryl, but you supply cars for everyone at the track. So that's why you have to carry 75 cars with you. Yeah, John, that's my next... You and I were talking about this the other day. I fixed the front tire rub issue. It was basically the body was not sitting in there correctly. So I think the only thing I have left to do is to take the screws out of the chassis, make sure that those holes are nice and clean, and then put it back together and maybe loosen those nuts. Or I guess I could order, the nut set that allows for more float. But that's probably my next thing to work on to get the Group 2 a little better. So that's what we're running this week. So going racing Thursday night at Cincy Slots, we're running Revo Group 2s, and then I don't know what the digital class is. So we never have digital cars prepped. So we'll see what it is. But I'm excited about running the Group 2s. I'm excited to see just how far off pace my car really is. And I know that I can't keep up with Dusty. his car is about 0.2 faster than mine. And then he was talking about Bruce's is probably almost a whole second faster than most of the field. So we got some catching up to do. Dusty, that's when my Galaxy should be here. I didn't ship it until today. To be clear, the Petty Belvedere is for the Brandon. That is for the land barge proxy. Awesome. I can't wait to see it then. Not tuning Group 2, but I'm tuning Mustang GTY. Curvy, good luck tuning that GTY. I say that every time. Daryl, you need backups for your backups, for their backups. And you supply Tate and Brandon and whoever else doesn't show up with cars. Yeah, Brandon. Yeah, the Starliners are big, just like the bubble top Impalas are big cars too. Yeah, they are really cool cars. Hey, Cool with K, welcome. So Group 2s, man, that's the next thing. Now, this sits here, still in the plastic. I've yet to open it up. And I'm not sure what I'm waiting on. I've actually had it for a couple weeks now. Well, John, he says that he didn't change any of the gearing. That's one of the rules. They want to keep the class close. And Dusty said when he picked up his car and was talking to Bruce about it, that it had a ton of float, like obnoxious amount of float. And so that's what we've been doing, is trying to find the happy place for float. But I can't seem to get much more float out of this. I mean, it starts to make lots of noise, but I don't know. I think that's where we're going to be, is just trying to find. Yeah, it's almost. He said it was almost a full second. Dusty, I don't remember the times you said he was running, but they were really fast. Yeah, they kind of did a test run last week, and I missed out on it. A lot of fun. Greg has. I have a 63 Impala I'm going to try to build. Nice, Greg. That's awesome. I love that there's a lot of guys jumping into this. Before I jump on that, I'll talk about this next week. I asked George and Shotgun Dave, and I think they asked Harry to jump on the live stream with me to talk specifically about the Home Racing World land barge. And I think they're going to break it down and talk about the H&R chassis. And I know that George has already put out a video. I just thought we've had a lot of interest in the chat about it. So I thought I'd bring those guys on and let them just take over for half hour, 45 minutes, and talk about just basics, the basic tuning of those cars, so that you have a good chance of performing well. I want them to go over the rules and what's allowed and what's not allowed. They're being really particular about what bodies they want to run. It's 59 through 64. So those guys are going to be special guests next week, February 6th, next Tuesday. So I'm excited about them jumping on. They're all great guys, and I just really appreciate them so much. And honestly, guys, I just really enjoyed being a part of that proxy, and just watching my car run. I was proud of it. It's like it got around the track, and it wasn't, it wasn't awful. So, but none of the cars were. All the cars were real close. And so I just thought it would be great to talk to those guys next week about this next proxy. I mean, we have a lot of time, but I started on mine pretty early, and I still was kind of at the last minute getting things done for the car. So this isn't until July, but I thought we would get a jump on it nice and early and that might be fun. So next week, tune in. George, Area 51, Shotgun Dave, and Harry from Home Racing World. We're all going to jump on and talk about that proxy. So bring your questions, anything that you, after you go through the rules, if there's something you want to know more about, it'll be a perfect time to ask questions, perfect time to get some clarifications on the rules. And then if you have questions about whether you think you can do it or not, just do it. I think it'll be fun, and it would be great to know like 15 or 20 guys in that hang out on Tuesdays here will all have cars at the proxy, kind of racing. So we don't get a chance to race together, right? So this is a way for us to build a car and have the cars race together, even though we won't be racing them. I think it'll be fun, so we can cheer each other on and check out our modeling skills and our building skills, and make fun of Dusty. Those will all be fun things. So tune in for that. That'll be great. But yeah, it's not gearing. It was. He said it was stock. Yep. Now I'm behind again. 2.5. I was going to ask, like, what would the recommendation? So I probably should. I got a slot car corner order pending. I'll just throw that in. What's one more thing, right, Daryl? John Tucci, I will be on the road next week. We'll have to watch it the next day. Yeah, John, that's why we record these things. Daryl, Digital 132 GT this month. Ooh, I don't not. Do I have? Yeah, I've got a couple awful GT cars. Maybe, Dusty, we stick around and run some digital. I don't know. Maybe that'll be a reason to buy a new Carrera digital car and get it tuned up. Hey, Rob, never late, man. Don't worry about that. Harry updated the rules today. We're also going to allow 55 to 59 zipper top cars. Dave, that's awesome. I was looking for, you can't find models of those, I don't think. Can you? You have to make them convertibles. You have to cut the tops off of them, which would be fun. But yeah, NASCAR ran that convertible class. Was it 55 through 59? I knew it was just a few years. I was thinking it was just 2 seasons, but they ran it as a separate class. They were trying all kinds of things back then, I think. Let's see. So Rob, hope you're doing well. Thanks for joining. Daryl, I loan out my fast cars and run my slower stuff to see how well I can drive. Don't let Daryl fool you. Daryl can drive really well, but he always gives his fast cars to other people. He enjoys watching people have some success, especially with his cars, and that's why everybody loves Daryl. Daryl is a very generous man. And, yeah, those are the type of people you hope you get to meet when you go to the track. So well done, Daryl. Yeah. So zipper tops are convertibles. So Brandon, if you look 55 to 59, you can find a few pictures of convertible cars where they put a roll cage. It's an exposed roll cage. And I'm not sure what they were trying to do. I guess, convertible cars were super popular back then, the late 50s. So I'm guessing it was just because there was an abundance of convertible cars that were available for guys to build into NASCARs. So, hey, Gladstone. Yeah, zipper top. So it's where they take the canvas and they cover the back seat area behind the drivers and the passenger side. And so you would put canvas and zipper that top so that it would help, and aerodynamics would be my guess for those cars. So, yes. Hey, Dan. What's up? Good to have you. Let's see. Zipper top is convertible. Best to Google. Yeah, hopefully I explained it well. But I think it comes from, a lot of convertible tops had zippers, right? For windows, just like Jeeps still have zippered windows. Question, I see some video with slot cars at the speed of light. Which scale they are? I see some videos with slot cars at the speed of light. So those are probably like 124 scale wing cars. They run super fast motors, usually foam tires, maybe even glue on the track so that they stick. But they run these big plastic wings. It's like downforce is their friend, and they are so fast you can't hardly see them. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. But yeah, those are probably wing cars, super fast. Hey, Donald Barker, welcome. Don't worry about being late, man. You can always watch the replay too. Yes, 56-59. Daryl is the bomb. Thanks for letting me race your fly Saturday night. Second was a win. Daryl's good at tuning those fly cars. Those are a difficult tune, man. They are not an easy pervertibles. Yeah, they call them tonneau covers. Yep, Brandon. That's what I would have called them too. I was just describing them. So, that's what I have on my Volkswagen is a tonneau cover. Usually, it's a cover that covers the top or the space. Yeah, anyway. Thanks, Dave. I tried. Jason, thanks for the help between you and Rick. Hopefully I will have a couple respectable cars. Yeah, Jason, no problem. I was happy to give you some pointers. But if you're wanting to drive a car that I tuned versus a car that Rick Jocham tuned, take Rick's car. Trust me. Take it. Take his advice. That man can tune a car. So, but yeah, hopefully you do well. You have to let me know. Yeah, HO Unlimited cars are super fast too. It's so hard to see those cars. Let's see, Steve, 5 to 6 racers we race with who always offers you there or a car. Yep. That's why you like HO, Slot Car League? Because they're so fast? Yeah, they look fun. The funny thing about wing cars is they don't look nearly as fast from the driver's panel as they do on video. I would agree, John. I've seen them in person at Tom Thumb's when their Blue King was set up, and there was a guy in there testing one day when I was in, and in person, it was definitely a lot easier to follow. On video, the camera really can't pick up something that fast. So that's the tough thing about 124 scale. Yeah, I think it would be fun to have a small HO layout. I think it would be fun to do a CNC'd. Some of those Viper tracks just look awesome. And that's how you'd get a track in a small space. But again, I've got some space. I think I'm going to do the oval just so that I have a test track. It's not going to be a permanent thing, just something temporary while we're building the land barge cars. So Dusty and if John Mark decides to build one, Dusty and we can test our cars just to get an idea of how they do on an oval. Because that was the hard part about testing this car. Testing it on here, it was really hard for me to see how it would handle running on an oval. And I know the plastic track and wood track's going to be different, but I think it will help. So that's the plan back in that far corner. And I think I've got room for maybe 5 foot by 16 feet, maybe 12 foot, but probably 12 to 16 feet, somewhere around in there. Shouldn't have any problems at all fitting that in that space. If I if I knew how to use a CAD program or some way to draw it out, I would basically just take 2 pieces of MDF and take it to my buddy Chad and his CNC machine. And if I could lay out the lanes, I would just have him CNC everything and then just slap it together on the table. But I don't know what program to design that in. But it would just be maybe like a 2 or 3 lane wood oval. That might be kind of fun. Yeah, we'll see. Let's see, what else do we have going on in the chat? Wing cars ruined slot car tracks in the 60s. No resemblance to model cars. Yeah, I think that's one of the things, the struggle with some of the 124 scale stuff is they resemble cars, but they don't really have the detail. I think that's the beauty of the 132nd scale and in the 124 scale, like Carrera cars and the BRM cars, is that they've really stepped up the detail. And I think that's why that part of the hobby is really, really growing. I think people want their cars to look like race cars. They want them to look like cars that they didn't get to drive or can't afford to drive. I've only seen at the racetrack, right? I think that's the beauty of it. Some of us are not old enough to have gotten to watch some of those Can-Am cars run in the 60s. But we love them, me being one of them. And so I get to drive them on my track, right? So I think that's the beauty of that. And you just look at the detail, man. The detail of these cars, right? That's what it comes down to. You just have great detail. They look like what you could go to the racetrack and see. And I think that's the big advantage. Fusion 360. Okay, Danny. I'll have to search for that and see how easy it is to learn to use. Fusion 360. Thanks, Mad P. Fusion 360. That's cool. Hey, Bob B. Welcome. Glad you're here, man. Thanks. Dusty, question. What gearing is the best to run on the Home Racing World proxy cars? Shotgun Dave. I would be curious to know. They recommend the 20, 27.9. That's what they always recommend. Or the 29. Hang on. What do I have? And I mean, I think they don't make a big deal of it because they don't want it to become a big gearing war. They just want guys to build cars and send them in and have fun. And so I think that's why Harry focuses on the modeling aspect of the hobby. I ordered 20, where's my, there it is. Yeah, I ordered 27.9, Dusty. That's what they recommend. And some guys go up a tooth or down a tooth, depending. And I don't know what the best ratio is, but 927. Thanks. Was I saying that wrong? 927 seems to be the sweet spot. Greg, I built a 20 by 4 by 8 at one end of the O-gauge Lionel and HO cars for my kids. Yeah, Greg, that's, yeah, things disappear. Things like that. Bill Royal, 360 or Tinkercad. Are those free softwares, guys? Do you know? Yeah, thanks, Dave. Appreciate that. Yeah, Clint, 927. That's what I ran in this. This is 927. And it did okay. I have to tell a story, though. Okay, so the box game, if I already told this story, did I tell the story last week? No, I didn't. I told Dusty and John Mark and Chris on Sunday. So the box comes late last week, Thursday. I get the car back out, and I was like, okay, I know that if they would have fixed something if something was wrong. And so I checked the body float. They didn't really change the body float that I had, so I guess that's where it should be. Either that or they just felt like they would run it as they run it because it ran. And I put it on the track, and it shot off the corner at the far end. It was so fast down the straight. And I'm like, what did these guys do to this car? So I clean the tires and I throw it back on the track, and it's screaming around the track, but it gets no traction with those urethanes on this plastic track. So I'm kind of slip sliding everywhere. But in the straight, once I got it straightened out, that thing was flying down the straightaway. Like, what in the world did they do? They really woke this motor up. This 18K motor is fantastic. And then I thought about it. I'm like, there's no way that they did any tuning that would have gotten that much performance out of that motor. And I checked my power supply, and when I reached in to turn it on, I must have bumped the knob and it cranked it up to like 17 volts. No wonder it flew off the end. So here I thought maybe those guys really, really tuned me up. But hey, Caveman. Oh, Caveman and Greg were going to meet up at Fast Eddie's. I saw, was that Fast Eddie's that was doing the drag racing live streams on the weekend? Hey, Asher, good to have you. Let's see, what else? Has anyone heard anything about Polycard Digital yet? I haven't heard anything, but it was on their list of things getting released. I saw where Scale Auto showed off some digital pieces, lane changers, some dual lane changers. So Scale Auto is going to beat them to the punch if Polycar doesn't get on it soon. But I've not heard any more about that, Asher. I apologize. What else? You can use whatever you think works. The track is 16 feet long, but 927 seems to work best. Yeah, I think you're right, John. That was a pretty good. I think if I had went to like a 10 tooth, I'd probably had a little more speed, but I don't know. I think my problem, if I ran that car again, I think I would go with the long can motor, the 17.5. Those cars seem to be, the torque really seemed to help on that track. So I think that's what I would do is I would go to the 17.5 instead of the 18K short can. I would go to the 17.5 long can because the torque really seemed to help on the oval. Yeah, Chris, I agree. Just a few hints that they've got those lane change. They're supposed to be coming. No, just bought some parts and watched the wing cars. There you go. So you didn't race, Caveman. Tinkercad is free. It's web page based. Cool. Very easy to use. Cool with a K. Thanks. I appreciate that. I will check it out. I'm all about free, and the web-based software has gotten pretty good. The web development piece is really, yeah, Asher, it's been a long time. I'm doing well. Thanks, man. Good to have you back. We're just talking slot cars, man. Just talking slot cars. Fusion has a free home use license. Tinkercad is web-based and is okay. Just don't think it would be good for designing a slot car track. Cool. Thanks, Danny. I know you've got a lot of experience in some of that stuff with your CNC. So, yeah, I've got some ideas on a track, a wood track. If I knew how to put it in a program to do CNC, I think that would be fun to design. I stink at CAD, and while I have trouble getting going in 360, it seems to be more fully featured. I'm more comfortable in Tinkercad, though. So usually I'll work in Tinker and then edit final stuff in 360. Okay, thanks, Bill. Tad, it's broken now. Well, I was looking for scars, and they're not too bad. The scars aren't bad at all, so they took good care, which means they didn't race it hard enough. So, Tad, I couldn't keep up with your car, man. So that's it. Yeah, Dave, it did. I was like, what did they do to this car? This car is crazy fast now. Yeah, at 17 volts. Sure is. Yeah, 17 is the new 12 volts. That's good, Clint. Tinkercad would be good for making pit boxes and little stuff like that. Cool. More voltage, more carnage. Well, we don't run that kind of voltage here. This track, we used to run 14 volts all the time. And this track, we toned it down to 12 and our cars run almost identical to what they did in the other track. So Tinkercad probably not great for that. Fusion has a trial version, I think. Mad P, I do have Illustrator. And I think you're right. I think you can export DXF. That's interesting. That's actually really interesting. I wonder if I could do that in Illustrator if I was good enough at Illustrator. The long cans can balance the chassis better too. I honestly, I don't think I have enough weight. I think that I could put probably, well, let me see what it weighs. So it weighs 118 grams. And I think the next thing I would play with is adding more weight. John, I took your advice and I did wax the car before. I have some spray wax that I use for my crokinole board, just off camera here, and I sprayed it and polished it up before I shipped it out. So I saw in Danny's video he got a lot done with his Hot Wheels and signs this week so that we have time to design you a track before he fixes his truck. That's funny, Daryl. Let's see. I have a friend that uses it on a regular basis that's been helping me. I've just been busy lately. Yeah, we all have, man. I agree. Cayman, are those new remotes out yet? As always, good show. Hey, thanks, Clint. Thanks for tuning in. Take care. A little tip for Harry's track. Heavier cars perform better. John, I didn't have any paste wax. Well, actually, I did. It was in the garage, and I didn't feel like walking out to the back of the property and getting it and finding it, digging it out. But the spray wax actually did a great job. Shotgun Dave, I would agree. And I didn't watch Harry weigh all the cars, but he did weigh some of them, and I noticed that I was pretty light. And so my guess is the weight really really helps with the traction on that track. And I'm guessing that's where I was losing some time. Not a bunch of time. I was right there, but maybe if I added another 10 grams of weight in the right place, that maybe would do better. So maybe it gets sent back in. Maybe I do some more tuning and we send it back in and see if I can get it to improve. I don't know. Maybe that's what we do. All right. So I think it's time to open this car up. I don't know what I've been waiting on. Paste wax, yes. Yeah, I don't know what I've been waiting on. But we're gonna open this thing up. I sent a picture of this to my daughter, Caroline. Her favorite car is the Group C Nissan. And I told her that I bought her a new car. And that's why I hadn't opened it up. Oh, man. Check that out. Hey, Steve, do you have that one? I know you like the Toyotas. Oh, yeah. What do you guys think? I love me some Group C stuff. I really like the Group C cars. They are so much fun to drive. I love driving them on this layout. It's actually a really good layout for the Group C stuff. All right. So, guys, what's your next car? This was my next car. Problem is I really want one of the new Thunder Slots, and I've not pulled the trigger, mainly because I was waiting on the Datsun Revoslot to come out. So how many of you have those pre-ordered? I'm guessing a lot of you guys in the chat have the Datsun pre-ordered from Revo. All right. It's the typical Group C inline. You can adjust the ride height, the front ride height. I don't know. I don't know how we are right out of the box set up. Not bad. I'm telling you what, I will say this. Slot It and Revoslot have really upped their game in how well the cars are coming from the factory, the new stuff. So this is my first new Slot It in a while, since the Nissan. And the Nissan, the front end was set up pretty well, right out of the box, and no different here. Gear mesh feels pretty good too on the inline. Looks like a set of super tires are in order, which I have in the box, and that's a good looking car. Good looking car. So I don't know, what do we think? Waxing your cars helps prevent scar. Okay, I'm further down. Dave, is there a certain weight to shoot for? Dusty, so when I was watching the proxy, if you go back and watch, the weight was kind of all over the place. I would say my car was probably one of the lighter cars. And it probably hurt it at the end of the straightaway, would be my guess, because it just didn't have the carry through the turns that the other cars. When I was watching the car, cars would make up time on me, except for whoever was driving in the blue lane. Whoever was driving my car in the blue lane, I think it was the blue lane, just rode off and left everyone in that heat. I was really happy. He lapped the entire field with my car, and for some reason he was able to carry, and it's probably just the lane, but whoever it was able to carry some speed through the turns that the others were struggling to. And I really chalked that up to weight. So I would say I was a little dry, Dust. The car should have been a little wetter, a little heavier. And that would be my guess. Steve, I knew that you would. Isn't that a good looking car? I love it. That is a great car. STP, the Batsu. Yeah, I can't wait to get it on the track. We may have to tune that up a little later tonight. I was going to work on my soldering iron, but maybe we'll see if we can't get some laps in it, and maybe that'll be this Saturday's video. I still need to do the test and tune video for the Corvette, the NSR Corvette. The 510s are next, John. That's your next car. Slot Car League of Champions says the Ferrari. The slotted Ferrari, the yellow and green, that one's coming out the 512. I don't have the red or the blue. I did not buy either of those two cars. John Mark has the Sunoco 512 slotted, but I think I will pick up the next livery that comes out. Steve, you and me both, man. I love it. Shotgun Dave, cars in the 130 gram range seem to perform best. Yeah, see, I wish I'd have known that before I sent my car in. But that's part of the proxy, right? Is you learn. I mean, that's part of I think the mystique of the proxy race is that you don't really know how your car's going to perform. You tune it, you send it in, you hope for the best, and then you try to learn from watching the stream, right? And so I took a lot away. I mean, I think I'll build another one for the next one, because this car's pretty special. But I did learn a lot, and so I think the next round I'll do a few things a little different. Yeah, me too. Chris is getting the NSR GT40 pre-order. Steve, you're all in on the Revo Datsuns. Yeah, they just look great. I like the 52B. Not that I don't like the BREs. The Simon Eyes, those are great liveries. But yeah, the 510. 510's next for you, if you don't count all the HO cars. 132 scale looks small. Been driving 124s. The 132 scale, I don't know that they look small. They perform so good. For me, the 124s on this kind of track just seem like dogs to me. It's not that they're not fun to drive, but they're just big and clunky. I love how nimble the 132nd scale is. That's just my opinion, Slot Car League. That's a pretty cool car. Is it digital or analog? Anthony, that is an analog car. But if you notice, there is a hole so that you can put a chip in it, already pre-drilled for your LED for lap counting for digital. Revoslot's doing that. Slotit's doing that. The C8, NSR C8 coming out. Yep. Harry's waiting on a couple of BRMs. Chris has got the 510s, and then the NSR Rothman P68s. Yeah, February is going to be expensive. Chris, I think that those the P68s, they just don't release them very often. I think those will be very popular cars. Even in the Rothman liveries, I'm not always a big fan of the Rothman. How NSR will do like the different colors of the livery, like the martinis, the red and the green and the yellow, I'm not always a fan of that. But I really do like the P68. Oh, got it right here. It's a cool car and great slot car. That will be a very, very popular car. Let's see. I just bought a 59 Cadillac convertible for a proxy backup. Nice, Brandon. Dang. 59 Cadillac. So did the Cadillacs run in NASCAR with the convertibles? Although you did pre-order both Scale Auto Penske Daytona team cars. That's going to be a popular car. John, I can't wait till you get it. Because maybe you can help me tune. Maybe you can help me tune mine. Tell me what I'm missing. I just feel like the chassis, there's so many things you can do with this chassis that I'm not sure. And I'm not quite sure how to set up the suspension, if I'm being honest. Pistol Pete, you could hear the crowd roar when your car took the lead. Pistol Pete, thanks for trying to make me feel good. John A, is that a Shelby Daytona? No, Curvy, it's the winner from this past weekend, the 24. It's the Porsche, the Penske Porsche 963s. That race livery, they're releasing. Scale Auto is releasing finally. before all you could get was the white kit of this. So Clearwater has the first 2 C8 releases. Nice. BRM Trans Am cars won't be available for a while, according to Alan. He can't get the parts to build them. Waiting for both Trans Am 510s to get here. That's cool. Yeah, Curvy, that Mustang looks really good. Is what compatible with Carrera? This car? You could put a digital chip in it. Oh, this car. Yeah, you can put a chip in it, slot it. They make a chip for Carrera that will mount right in there. Let's see here. James Red. Sorry. Apologize, James. Hey, Marty, I really enjoy your channel. Do you know if there are any new technology for truly competitive ghost car racing? I don't know that there are any new technology. I mean, you can set up ghost cars. You know, I forget how many you can set up as a ghost car with Carrera Digital. I mean, heck, at one time I think I was running 5 ghost cars and myself on the track a while back. But I don't know that there's any new ghost car technology. I think you have to tune a ghost car a little different if you want it to be a competitive fight and not just a car that you pass out on the track. I think that you got to take care of the tires, and then you probably need to make those magnet cars. So I think if you pulled the magnets out of your Carrera Digital cars and prepped your tires, and then you kept the ghost cars as magnet cars, then they could be pretty competitive ghost cars for you. But the biggest problem is they run one speed, right? And so they tend to come off in the turns if you run them too fast, but then they become dogs in the straights, and that's easy passing. So you really got to find a way to make the ghost car perform better. So add a magnet, stack a magnet, so that it just sticks and you can run the ghost car faster. I got to the point where I had one ghost car that I just couldn't keep up with, and I would spend all my time trying to chase it down, and it was just too fast, and it didn't come off. Yeah, Daryl's been waiting for 2 years for the black BRM to be released. Yeah, man, I get it. So James, I hope that answered your question. Thanks for jumping in there. I appreciate it. Good to have you. Glad you're here tonight in the chat. Yeah, good stuff. You can run 8 ghost cars. Thanks, Kirby. I wasn't sure of the number. I'm not sure why. I didn't know that number, but in my head I thought it was 8, but I'm not sure. Wasn't sure. Chris, I pre-ordered just number 963 for myself and the Acura hypercar for my wife. Good choice, Chris. Those will be good. Guys, I appreciate the thumbs up. This has been great. Yeah, man, I'm excited about getting this tuned up and getting on the track, and I'll have it ready for Group C racing. And if I ever host a race day at my track and have people over, Group C will definitely be it's one of my favorite classes to run. It'll be what we run here. So get your Group C cars ready. All right, guys, it's 9:32. We'll wrap things up for tonight, unless there's any more questions. Hey, DNA, make it right to the end. Oh, coffee. Yeah, let's not forget about our friends at Roast Coffee. Let's throw it up there. So go to roastcoffee.com, use 2 lines as your coupon code, and if it's your first time ordering, you get 25% off. Or you can get anytime, you can get 20% off of a subscription to coffee. And Trent's coffee is great. It's my favorite beans, and I've tried a bunch. Even Verve, out by John Albright. I reordered what John sent me, about a year ago. Great coffee, but I still come back to the Brazil. The roast Brazil for me is really hard to beat. just because of how I prepare. I have an espresso machine. That's how I prepare my coffee. So if you like coffee, he's my channel sponsor. Might be doing a roast coffee livery on one of my land barge builds. We'll see. We'll see what happens. DNA, thanks for Dahi, thanks for jumping in here at the last minute. Vin, I'm wondering if we're ever going to see the Japanese classic 80s and 90s cars like the 260s, 300s. Vin, I think so. I think that companies like Slotted and Revo are tipping their toes in the water with the 510s from the Datsuns, and to see how popular they are. And I think they're finding out that people love those cars. And so I would not be surprised. BRM has they just did one of those. I forget which one. Was it a 260Z? There are some supers out there, but from the 80s and 90s, I get you. I think we'll see those. Will we see them anytime soon? Probably not, but maybe over the next 5 years. All these companies are going to want to branch out into the next new popular thing, and so I think that's why and when we'll see them. Car Fun Mostly has a video about suspension. Daniel, thanks. I'll go check that out. I'm really not sure how I should have that rear end set up on this car. Yeah, thanks guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for the support on the channel. Steve, you got a Toyota coming? Awesome. Let's see. DeFingers. Yeah, man. Thanks for joining, John. Good to have you. Harry, you stay up way too late, my friend. Get to sleep. Good night, guys. Appreciate you. Thanks, Fred. Craig, thanks, man. Appreciate you guys. Steve, we never get anything accomplished. What are you talking about? Yeah, Chris, the home blend is really, really good. Guys, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate you. Thanks, Gary. And guys, go have some fun racing. We'll see you next week.